Engage and rage. This is Voice of the People, USA Radio.
And a very special good evening to everybody in the Eastern time zone and Central, and to everybody in the West. Hello, it's evening there as well. So, we're on. So, thank you all for tuning in. I know you're waiting for the Danceberg Radio Show. At least somebody out there is excited about a show by that name, because my last name is Brutal. So, thank you all for tuning in. This is the show we spoke about. And again, shout out to everybody on the socials and the radio side, everybody all over. Thank you so much for tuning in today for the election integrity call. I appreciate it. And as always, PolitiShock will be live tomorrow night. Millions upon millions of you decided to show up last week, and I cannot thank you enough. And every week you continue to impress and blow my mind, and we are all immensely grateful. With that, I want to send a quick little reminder. Remember, YouTube sucks. And even though we are on YouTube right now, because I figured we can get away with it because I'm going to be a good host tonight. And so we're giving you a shout out to our ever dwindling YouTube audience. And hi. But to everybody else, remember, Rumble is where it's at. So please, please, please do us a favor and go to @VOPUSA Radio on Rumble. And of course on Twitch, on Frank Speech now. Thankfully, we are live and have our own channel on Frank Speech, which goes directly to the other call to action because, hey, why not? And he deserves it. So shout out to everybody in the Frank Speech world. And remember, if you want to save money on awesome products, go to my store or mypillow.com/VOPUSA, or just go to MyPillow or mystore.com and use promo code VOPUSA for exclusive 25% savings, with a little bit of that money coming back when you make a purchase that goes to independent broadcasters like us. So show your support, show some love. Our best sponsor by far, because he decided to actually humanize us and say that we are legit and recognize the 64 million people that actually show up monthly to this network. So shout out to all free speech warriors. With that being said, I would like to welcome somebody to the show, first time. And this is somebody who knows what it is to kind of be a rebel, if you will, and to see something wrong in the world and make a positive change, and has come up against all the powers that be trying to shut him down. Because obviously when you try to do some good in the world, there's going to be many things that work against you. We know how that is here. We are free speech absolutists, but we try to put a message out there that promotes, well, quite frankly, honesty, liberty, God, and freedom. Imagine that. And that's deemed controversial. But our guest tonight is somebody who knows what that's all about and lives what he preaches. And we are joined by Sam. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, Dan. Great to be here.
Great to have you on. I want to thank you. And everybody see the screen. This is a early call to action, but check out allomiracles.com/VOP. You're going to understand that more. And it's streaming on the bottom of your screen as well. So you're seeing that all over the world. And to our listening audience, allomiracles.com/VOP. You will understand why. For exclusive savings. And I want to say that we had the pleasure of meeting one Dwight and his wife, Susan, at the Believers Summit, the Turning Point Believers Summit, as we were there on Media Row. And shout out to Turning Point, obviously. And they brought us into this world, if you will. And we learned about some super products out there, which I myself am taking. And I look forward to giving a full testimonial once hopefully everything comes to pass and it works for me. But we'll get into that later. But in the meantime, happy to have Sam on. And Sam, I just want to kind of just shoot to you and say, take it away, because you have a tremendous story to tell. And a lot to put out there. And one thing I do too much is talk too much. So I want to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Dan. And it's great to be with you and your guests tonight online.
Thank you. Yes, you're heard. You're being heard right now in 98 countries all over the world. So, say hi to the world. You know the world well. You travel it quite frequently. So, it's cool to have you here and to have everybody else be able to hear your message. So, okay, I'm done now for real.
Okay. Well, hello, world. Good to have you guys with us tonight. Hey, listen, my story revolves around an incredible discovery that was made about 25 years ago. And I got involved with it mainly as a consultant to begin with, but I saw such huge potential in it, I jumped right into the middle of it. And as you said, have gone through a lot of checks with agencies and things like that, because what we're doing is very disruptive to the status quo of modern healthcare. So let me kind of just start there, Dan, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Just talk about the dilemma that we have. It's interesting. This is very timely call because over the last month, I've seen a couple, two people by the name of Casey and Callie Means, and they've been on podcasts, Tucker Carlson and several others, talking about modern healthcare and sort of the conspiracy that feels like happens between big food and big pharma.
Yep.
And all disease starts in the gut. When your gut goes wrong and gets corrupted, you start experiencing things like chronic inflammation and loss ultimately of immune function. And when you lose immune function, Dan, what happens is your body no longer can defend itself against infection, against disease cells growing and proliferating. And so what are the causes of poor gut health? Well, number one, big food. Everything that we eat, drink, and breathe today is first of all, nutritionally deficient. Secondly, it's full of chemicals, whether they're preservatives or artificial colorings or sweeteners or all that kind of stuff. And so about 90 cents out of every dollar is spent on a processed food in this country now.
Poison.
And it is. It's poison. And so what happens is that sets you up to go into the funnel of what we call healthcare, which is really sick care. And this is what Casey and Callie Means wrote their book about. Casey is a board certified surgeon, graduated from Stanford Medical School, top of the class, and just came to realize that what is going on in healthcare is not really healthcare. It's disease management. And of course, that's where all the money's at. And so you get into this poor health state and you stay in it as long as they can keep you there. Because what modern healthcare is really, again, the management of poor health. And the way they manage it is with pharmaceutical drugs that suppress the symptoms of chronic disorders. They don't treat the root cause of the condition. They mask the symptoms for as long as they possibly can. And ultimately, your body has to heal itself. There is no drug that heals your body. Only your body can do that. Okay, so that's the backdrop. We've got a corrupted healthcare system. It's amazing. You think in the United States, the most wealthy country on the planet, that we would have this right. We spend almost 2 times more on healthcare or sick care than anybody else in the world. We take 50% of all the prescribed pharmaceutical drugs globally, with only 5% of the population. And yet we rank dead last in health of population of the 19 top industrialized nations. So something has gone terribly wrong with our system. And nobody wants to be a customer of this system. Who wants to be sick? but it is the most powerful industry on the planet today, big pharma. Okay, so how did I get involved with this, and what's the discovery that I'm talking about? Because listen, if anybody out there in this audience is struggling with any kind of poor health condition, you need to listen to this call tonight, because this could be your freedom. As you talked about at the beginning, this show is all about freedom.
Amen.
And that's that's really where I started in this. It was 1994. I was invited to a biotech company to look at a discovery they had made. And it was a company called Carrington Laboratories, and they had discovered the bioactive or medically active molecule in the aloe vera plant that caused such a profound immune response, unlike anything in pharmacology, anything in medicine. In other words, this molecule, if active, triggered an immune response that optimized your body's response to every kind of poor health condition. It really didn't matter what it was. The problem with the molecule is it was labile. What that means is 24 hours after you pick the leaf, the molecule is denatured and the activity is completely gone. So, in the 1990s, you had a several billion-dollar aloe vera industry out there full of products and drinks and salves and skincare and all of these things promoting the miracle of aloe, and the miracle of aloe was not in any of them. So this biotech company discovered the molecule and stabilized it for the very first time. Then they took the company public, raised hundreds of millions of dollars to bring this technology into the marketplace. Now, the guys that did the research were research pharmacologists. And so their goal was to bring the product to market as a drug. In fact, the very first patent that they received, use patent, after they stabilized it and did their initial research from the U.S. Patent Office, said this discovery of acemannan, that's the name of the molecule, has shown to be effective in the treatment of any condition that requires immune system intervention for its resolution. And so you ask, what conditions would those be? And the answer is every condition. There is no condition that doesn't require immune system intervention for recovery. And so these pharmacologists believed that they had discovered the second coming of penicillin. I mean, it was that radical. It would immediately obsolete hundreds, if not thousands, of drugs, because most drugs, again, are designed and developed to suppress symptoms of chronic conditions. And if you get to the root cause of the condition and you optimize your immune system's response to it, and your body actually does what it's designed to do, which is heal itself, then you don't need to take that pharmaceutical product the rest of your life. And so they couldn't have been more excited about it. They submitted their application for investigative new drug to the FDA. And when the FDA saw their research, they rejected their application. Now, you got to understand, as Casey Means stated in her book, Good Energy, that 80% of all the funding that comes into the FDA comes from the pharmaceutical industry. In other words, that's their client. And even though they say Food and Drug Administration, ultimately their goal is to protect their client's monopoly on sick care. So here's a molecule that had the potential of obsoleting hundreds of drugs, which would not be a popular thing for their client base. So they rejected the application. And the reason that they gave, Dan, for rejecting the application was all drugs have to prove that they can alter the physiology of a biomarker of disease or a process of disease. That's what drugs do. They alter physiology. They can make blood pressure go up, make blood pressure go down. In other words, whatever they're doing to suppress the symptom of that chronic disorder is what the drug is designed for. And so all, quote, drugs have to alter physiology. And they said the $100 million worth of research that you've done has proved one thing. This ACE mannan molecule does not alter anything. It just enhances and optimizes normal physiology. Therefore, you haven't discovered a drug. And therefore, we're not going to give you approval on it.
Of course
Now, this
not.
was 1994 after they'd spent, get this, Dan, $100 million on validating the mechanism of action of how this molecule actually worked on the immune system, its safety, and its efficacy in a wide variety of poor health conditions. Okay, so that's 1994. And that's when I was introduced to them. And they said, you know, the FDA has classified this as a nutrient. We believe that common sense will override bureaucracy and we'll get it approved as a therapeutic. But in the meantime, we have to generate cash flow. So I licensed the exclusive rights for dietary supplementation because that's how it works. It works like a nutrient. And brought it into market in 1994. I also started publishing peer-reviewed data on the benefits of this ACE mannan molecule, how it actually worked on the immune system. And it's got a very unique mechanism of action. You know, when COVID came out, Dan, the world woke up to the fact that the best way to defend yourself naturally against that viral infection was to have a strong immune system.
Correct.
In fact, they said that those with weakened immune systems, the elderly, people with comorbidities, would have a much rougher time dealing with the virus. So what did everybody want? They wanted a, quote, immune booster. So, you know, vitamins and minerals and echinacea and boysenberry and garlic and, you know, all these things. And all of them are legitimate dietary supplements. None of them have the ability to optimize your immune system's response to infection. And that is what this molecule does. It's a very uniquely structured molecule. It's a polysaccharide. Poly means many. Saccharide means sugar, so it's a long chain sugar. Only it's made up of a saccharide, a sugar called mannose. And these strings of mannose are what actually activate the immune system and optimize its response to poor health and infection. You know, when I first met these guys and I was talking to them about this uniquely structured molecule, I asked them, does this molecule occur anywhere else in nature? You know, is it in echinacea? Is it in other herbs or plants that have been used for, you know, hundreds or thousands of years? And they said, no. The only other place that we've seen this molecule is in human breast milk. So when a woman becomes pregnant, she converts high levels of glucose into this saccharide called mannose. Their livers link them together into these oligosaccharides, these small chains. And that's what optimizes the immune system's response in the newborn baby. And I just thought that was fascinating. I just thought, gosh, if that's how nature creates immune optimization, this molecule ought to do wonders. And so I started sharing the information that I had learned from this biotech company with the public. And here's what I found. You know, 60% of the people in this country live with one or more chronic disorders that there's no good solution for.
Amen to that.
And most of those people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, they don't want to be in the system. They don't want to have to take pharmaceutical products the rest of their life. I think everybody understands that pharmaceutical drugs are poison, they're toxic. Just listen to the commercials on TV.
Where the side effects, I don't know what I love more, and I'm sorry to interject, but there's
Yeah.
a couple things that I want to bring up here. One, I love the depression medication, and the side effects could cause suicidal ideation, could cause. I mean, it's amazing to me, and everything now. And for those who know, and because we're on YouTube right now, not that really matters. I like how they added Guillain-Barré to everything since certain vaccines have been made a very big push in the pharmaceutical world in the last couple of years. And it just goes on and on and on. And as somebody who suffers from air quotes, chronic issues myself, and I share this with my audience, I'm currently doing something right now that I found works for me. I'm on day 22 of no food. So I've done a complete fast. I'm drinking my water daily and taking these supplements actually. So, and in doing so, I've lost a total of, I would say, about 30 pounds right now. I'm down to my lowest weight since 2009, 2008. And I say this because I reached my highest weight of 293 pounds once I was put on the pharmaceutical drugs to address my Crohn's disease and my rheumatoid arthritis and my lupus and all that other junk that they said that I have. And then you get put on the steroids, and then you gain weight. You're not eating. For those who know, you're sick as hell. And it's amazing how one can go to the bathroom, we're getting the nitty-gritty here, so many times, but you're gaining weight. And, through my own researches and holistic care, I found a way to help myself and obviously, shed a few pounds. And then I was stuck in the 260s. And now I find that I know what I need to do to help me. And you can always do better. It's not 100% perfect. And my beautiful wife is somebody who's helped me a lot. And now in doing this and also taking these supplements and taking these products, because as you know, in the age, and I swear I'm going to shut up in a minute, Sam, in an age where everybody and their mother is selling you supplements, everybody has supplements. The important thing to know, don't be like me and say, well, I'm going to buy these vitamins from Walmart. I'm going to buy these vitamins because 93% of the actual thing is junk. And you're getting a very low percentage of things that'll actually help you. So good in theory, but know where you're buying from. And, to kind of jump around here, and I tend to do this, but, we had Dr. Lynn Lafferty on a couple weeks ago, and that show is going to air in its entirety again coming up soon. And she is somebody also who spoke about the importance of, to what you're saying, that nature provides us with healing mechanisms, and that's why they want to spend so much and do so much to remove them from the public consumption, from the public eye. We don't want to see that because that's bad. You can't have natural things. And as somebody who lives literally, I look outside my window, I'm looking at the cars going up and down the road in Canada. And the Border Patrol laughed at me when I was eating because I get so excited. They said, what are you excited about? I said, because I'm going to get McDonald's. And now they laugh at me. And now it's become a thing. You're going to go have a fine 5-star meal at McDonald's tonight? Yes, I am. Why, do you ask? Now, in Canada, the healthcare system leaves a lot to be desired. It is not exactly something that you want in the political system, but we're not going to address that. But something Canada does is very, very strange. Like most of the countries do all over the world. You go to a McDonald's in Canada, your burgers look like they're from a diner circa 30 years ago. And you wonder, why do they have all this food and all this stuff that isn't available in America? And then even something like, back when I was being bad, you eat M&Ms. I was never big on sweets, but they have something called Smarties there, their version of M&Ms. And it's all beet coloring, this, that, all these ingredients that you see in American food magically aren't there because it's not allowed. And just like when you cross the border, you're not allowed to bring anything with seeds, soil, all these meat, all these different things, because we're not allowed to have that in America. Why? Because there's no steroids, there's no chemicals, there's no this, there's no that. And through a great video I seen yesterday, I'll be sharing it in entirety tomorrow night on the show, is somebody just recently testified in front of a congressional committee and literally listed that Nabisco and all these companies based in America, what their ingredient lists are in 93 countries all over the world versus what they are in America. And they show the difference of Fruit Loops in Canada, Fruit Loops in the United Kingdom versus Fruit Loops here. So bright, so colorful. But overseas, they're not. Why? Because they're using natural food coloring. They're using a lot, actually, vegetables being used for food coloring. And I say this because the food literally tastes different just for us, just a couple miles away. It's a whole different set of protocol. And I think this is so pertinent what you're talking about right now, Sam, because as we all know, and by the way, my audience knows I'm doing you all a favor by not showing my face tonight. You don't need to see me. All right. So Sam's the star of the show. But so I am the flashing dot on the screen. But paying respect to my listening audience. But it's never been more prevalent right now in the body politic, because what has been the biggest change, and we're talking to a predominantly populist conservative audience here, but we do have our other side of the aisle represented as well. But MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And,
correct.
And Callie Means, right? That's the name?
Casey and Callie.
Casey and Callie, yes. And working closely with RFK Jr., who are now working closely with the Trump campaign and most notably the Trump transition team. And why has this been such a big hit among independents, among those who don't vote, among libertarians? Because these are people that have been calling this problem out for a very long time. Right. So now this is literally relatively, it's not new by any means, but it is big now. It's in the news now. You have your things that are headlining in the news all the time, fill in the blank of anything negative Trump, and then go MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, which is key. And then we get into the nitty gritty and we talk about P. Diddy and Lincoln Park, but which are things I don't want to talk about right now. But it's amazing how so many people care so much about this, Sam. And that's why people need to really understand the importance of there are natural elements. The earth gives us what we need to heal ourselves. And it is the enemy of big pharma. It is the enemy of just any, I call it the medical industrial complex.
Right.
But that's why this is so pertinent, because there are things out there and alternatives out there that you could use and you can help yourself with. And I can't say, and I will not say, so don't worry, YouTube. I will not be the one to say it cures anything or does anything, but what I'm saying is it should be in the public domain for you to try it for yourself and see what good and what benefits it could bring you, like I'm currently doing with these products. And that's why, again, I know Sam's going to go deeper into this in a minute, and I just had to interject, but allomiracles.com/VOP. If you are going through a series of anything that Sam discussed or whatever is going on in your life, I implore you to please go to that website /VOP, allomiracles /VOP, or just go to allomiracles.com and use the promo code VOP because there's exclusive savings for you right now. Try it out. You spend so much money on over-the-counter crap. You spend so much money on your favorite influencer that is getting paid tons and tons and tons of money to push stuff that is not so special and not much better than anything you could buy at a Walmart or a GNC. So you have nothing to lose but to try it out and to try it for yourself, like I am doing. And my audience knows that I am not a trusting person. My audience knows that I'm skeptical of everything. I'm a truth teller, and I am honest and explicit and blunt. And I'm asking you out there to actually give it a shot. Go and explore. And if it's something that could help you, you've got nothing to lose. With that, Sam, I'm done. Go ahead. Take back over.
Well, thanks, Dan. That was very good, by the way. Let me just cover two more subjects on this matter while I'm at it. Number one, in 1997, I was in Europe and I was working with a big orphanage organization. And I asked the head caregiver, "What's your biggest problem. And she said, it's the health of our children. And she said, our kids get sick. They don't have access to any kind of health care, and they just don't get better. We lose 30 to 40 kids a year from immune deficiency related issues. And when I heard that, I realized that the work that I was doing could make a huge contribution to these children. So I sent her enough of this Ace Mannin product for a year. At the end of the year, we reconnected, and she said, it's just amazing what we've seen. Our kids are healthier than we've ever seen them. And for the first time in over a decade, not one child died. And she said, and everybody that's heard our story in the orphanage industry, and we're connected all over the world, wants to know how can they get access to this. And so in 1999, I started a not-for-profit organization called Manna Relief, a children's health organization that provides this Ace Mannin technology to the world's most vulnerable children. And I bring this up because I want you to know that in developing nations of the world, they really don't care what Big Pharma thinks. They don't have the money to support traditional healthcare anyway. They're just trying to find solutions for people, and particularly their most vulnerable children. So whether it was AIDS in Africa or malaria, sickle cell anemia, it really didn't matter what the conditions were. They were all over trying to optimize these children's immune response to all of those conditions. And what happened was just miraculous. I mean, we saw things that we've never seen before. And like, for instance, the leading AIDS expert in Africa, Dr. Benakinga from Kenya, said, we make Ace Mannin now mandatory for every child that comes into our hospital. Why? Because the road to recovery starts by bringing function back to the immune system. Now, having said those things, let me just make this point very clear. Ace Mannin does not treat a disease. In other words, if you put Ace Mannin in a petri dish with cancer cells, nothing would happen because it's not a drug. But what it does do is it optimizes your immune system's response to whatever your condition is. And only the immune system can heal the human body. And so that's why this technology was so dynamic. So that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years in the not-for-profit area. We've delivered over 250 million daily servings of advanced immune support to children in over 90 countries of the world, probably the same countries that are listening here tonight. And the last thing I want to talk about with you, Dan, is even though modern medicine feels like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, there's actually some very incredible research going on in a new area of therapy that is called immunotherapy. Now, you may have never heard the term immunotherapy, but it does exactly as it sounds. What they found in medicine is the best way to fight cancer, for instance, is optimize the immune system's response to it. So like, for instance, when a cell becomes cancerous, there's a large white blood cell that connects to it and detects that it's cancerous. That cell is called a macrophage. It then sends a message to B cells to make antibodies that will come back and attach to that diseased cell and alert the rest of the immune system that something has gone horribly wrong and come and fight and destroy this cell. When those functions of detection and antibody development start breaking down and that function gets lost, you got big problems. Your body can't fight the cancer and then it starts proliferating. To add insult to injury, cancer cells have a very effective way of hiding from detection. They make their own proteins that allow cancer cells to hide from immune system detection. So what they've discovered in immunotherapy is that we can go into a lab and make monocloned antibodies. In other words, we can design antibodies just like your immune system does. It's very complex. and very complicated. For the most part, it's non-toxic. It's just adding some of the functions that have become deficient in your body. And so what you're seeing is immunotherapies pop up all over the place for the treatment of various types of cancer. I'm working with one of the leading immunotherapists in the country right now. She got the first monoclonal antibody approved by the FDA for the treatment of cancer. This is not a very popular subject for big pharma because this is not, burning the body, poisoning the body, cutting on the body. It's supporting the body's normal functions of defense and repair. Why was this immunotherapist interested in Ace Mannin? Because what they do through monoclonal antibody development is they bring one of multiple functions back to life in the immune system. That's the antibody ability to alert the rest of the immune system. But to maximize the effect of monoclonal antibodies, she is now researching our product as the key integrative support technology for maximizing the effect of her immunotherapy. So I just say that to say that whether it's the poorest countries in the world, who are just trying to save the lives of their children, or whether it's the top research in the world, immunotherapy, this Ace Mannin technology is finally finding its way into the marketplace. And I own the exclusive rights to this through my not-for-profit Manna Relief. Every time somebody buys any product from our for-profit company, which is Aloe Miracles, we'll link you into that. It provides a donation so we can provide the same immune optimizing technology to a child in need. So it's a buy one, give one model. But the world is in desperate need of a solution. In the book that we were talking about, Dan, by Casey Means and Callie Means, she talks about what's happening with children today. I mean, this is hard to believe, but in this country, the United States, 50% of the children in this country now are living with one or more chronic diseases. When I was growing up, when you were growing up, Dan, there was no such thing as children's hospitals.
Exactly.
I mean, there was hospital, but kids were, for the most part, healthy. Look at what's going on today. I mean, it's a huge, huge business, medicating the chronic symptoms of poor health. And if you want to break out of that bondage, start supporting your immune system's response to everything the 21st century deals you in terms of poor diet and toxicity and stress and all the things that destroy your gut health and destroy the functionality of your immune system. So we have some very unique proprietary products that deal with things like biomarkers of chronic inflammation, immune system functionality. And these are not products that you'll find in Walmart or your local pharmacy, or like you said, with other influencers. These are very unique to us. And they were given to us exclusively because of the work that we're doing with children all over the world. But if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, Dan, it's time to change. Get some products that will actually optimize your immune system's response to whatever you're dealing with, and you will see what appears to be a miracle happen in your life. But it's not the miracle of our product, it's the miracle of the human body to heal itself. Paracelsus, who was the father of pharmacology, in the 1600s said that everything that man needs to achieve and sustain health is provided by God and nature. It's the job of science to find it. And that's what we do better than any other company in the world. We find those unique molecular structures and validate their efficacy and safety, and then link up with the world's leading scientists and the world's most concerned individuals. Sometimes it's presidents of countries or Ministries of Health are top doctors in developing nations to bring hope and life back into people's lives who, without this technology, have no hope. So that's the opportunity tonight, Dan, with the people that are listening. Again, if you want to optimize your immune system's response to whatever you're dealing with, you need to get on allomiracles.com/VOP and invest. I would do it for 90 days. Again, your health didn't deteriorate in 2 weeks. This is not a drug. It's not going to immediately alter anything. It will start building your health back from the very core of where it went wrong. And Dan, I can't wait to hear your results because you and I have talked a few times on the phone about what you're going through. And I think the people that are on this call tonight will see similar responses.
And I think that's what's, pretty cool is, getting a new product and then having the CEO and the guy who's behind it all, who made it all possible, actually sit there and break it down and tell you, what you should take and how you should do it, and actually care enough to follow up. And that really goes for Steve, it goes for Dwight, it goes for everybody. Susan, the entire team has been very responsive and, not wanting anything, just genuinely caring about the health and the benefits and wanting you to improve your way of being, and I think that's the key. And I'm hitting about 60 days coming up of actually, on the products myself. And, it's one of those deals where, I'm doing the 90 days. So why can't you? You've got nothing to lose. And the beauty of it is, I can assure you, from all the, I'm just going to come right out and say it, all the poisons that I'm still on, I've been able to cut out a lot, but, for one, I take methotrexate. And what is methotrexate? It's a chemotherapy. Yeah. I take Stelara. And what is Stelara? It's not something that I desire to continue to take the rest of my life, but it's pretty much like once you're prescribed it, that's your sentence. That's it. That you're on it for life. And you asked a question, can I get off of it? Nobody has an answer for you. And I think that's the worst part of anybody going through anything like that. It's the feeling of almost hopelessness. And then you reach air quote remission, and it's like, oh well, in order to stay in remission though, you gotta keep taking the the pharmaceuticals. You got to stay on it. You got to keep it going. Got to go and go and go and go. And it makes you wonder. And as somebody who, literally, we're just a few days shy of 3 months ago, my mother dying at the age of 64, and seeing what she went through because of big pharma and, again, that same medical industrial complex, it's very telling, because I'm not making accusations. I'll do that when we're not on YouTube. But I'm only on YouTube to help expand the reach. I hope you understand that, Sam.
Sure.
Otherwise, I never go live on YouTube because I hate them and they hate me, and that's why I say go to Rumble at VOP USA Radio. But I digress. I've seen they work so hard to try to put you on more pharmaceuticals. But, something's wrong. And now we're no longer treating the core of what you were, quote, diagnosed with. Now we're treating oh, well, that's a side effect of the pharmaceutical, so just take this. Oh, well, that's a side effect of that pharmaceutical, so just take this. That's a side effect of this. And my mother, for 3 years, suffered in a state of paralysis, that she had never had before. And they labeled her as Guillain-Barré syndrome. And the first question they asked, of course, did she take a certain vaccination? As a matter of fact, she did not. But regardless, that was the first thing they jumped to. And it was just a series of neglect and mistreatment and bad handling, but never any optimistic solutions, never anything to give you hope. And I've seen it, and it's heartbreaking. And it's a terrible thing to witness And from my end, it's a terrible thing to go through, I can assure you. And I know that I have it better than most. But again, what do you have to lose? A famous man who was the once and future president said that. And I think that's a very appropriate statement. You have nothing to lose. And versus making an investment and going to specialist after specialist after specialist after specialist to get nothing more than a doom and gloom, diagnosis. And we're not saying all medical is bad. It serves its purpose. But at the same time, and we're not telling you to not go to the doctor and not go to a specialist and not go to this. We're saying take something that, guess what, has no side effects. The only potential side effect is your body helping itself. And Sam, is that a bad thing? Is that something controversial? Is that something that warrants being blacklisted and silenced and banned? Take something that could potentially help your body help itself, and it happens to be all natural. God forbid we say such a thing.
Yeah, I think, a lot of times when you say big pharma is working against the American public, people go, that's a very far-reaching conspiracy. The Seattle Times did a great article in the late 90s to kind of show you where the pharmaceutical company comes from. In the late 90s, Big Pharma was able to change the biomarkers between health and disease in 4 categories: high blood sugar levels, high blood pressure, what is safe levels of cholesterol, and what is legitimately being obese.
Yes.
And so, for instance, high cholesterol, it used to be considered 240 with no scientific rationale at all. It was lowered to 200. That put 63 million people in the category of sick from healthy. Just with the change of biomarker status between healthy and diseased. And that's why statin drugs for cholesterol became the #1 selling drug in the world. Now, that was done purely to incentivize the medical complex, to prescribe their cholesterol drug and to make 63 million people at risk that were completely healthy last year with the same reading. And the same thing went on with blood pressure and blood sugar levels. So there really is a conspiracy going on out there, but it's not what we're talking about. It's coming the other direction from Big Pharma. And I'll just kind of wrap up with this. People say, can I take this product if I am under doctor's care, if I am taking medication? You just answered the question.
Yes.
But I want to make sure that everybody hears this. This is food. This is not a drug. There is no negative interaction between this and any other pharmaceutical. Here's the challenge with pharmaceuticals exclusively. They're all toxic. I mean, just again, listen to the commercials. So what does that do? That further compromises your immune system's ability to ever heal your body. And so we're not saying don't see your doctor. We're not saying don't take whatever the doctor's recommending. We're saying you better start optimizing your immune system's response to everything, including the drug therapies that you're on, or you're going to find yourself in a funnel that there's no escape from. And some people say, well, optimizing my immune system, if I have an autoimmune disorder, is that a wise thing to do? Well, an optimized immune system will modulate your immune system. It will be pro-inflammatory when it's supposed to. It will be anti-inflammatory when it's supposed to. So it doesn't exasperate autoimmune. It actually deals with the root cause of why you're experiencing those symptoms to begin with. So this is truly an incredible breakthrough. It will never come through the medical system because it is such a threat to that system. But again, we've been using this for over 25 years in the world's most compromised health conditions of these young children all over the world, and we see hundreds of thousands of miracles on top of miracles. So again, Dan, thanks for having me on your call tonight. Again, go to allamiracles.com/VOP. Invest in your health. Invest in your recovery. Invest in your immune system's ability to withstand whatever modern life is throwing at it.
Love it. Sam, I want to thank you for taking the time and coming on, and I'm sure we're going to do this again. And I want to just thank you as well for the promo code for my listening audience. And in the last few minutes of the show here, and when I'm closing it out, I'm going to make sure to drive that home because, again, we have a unique situation where our listening audience is far larger than our social reach, So, a couple 100,000 versus many, many million, it's a big difference. But, I hope everybody takes the time and actually checks it out. And again, I thank you for the good work that you're doing and actually trying to help people in a world full of poisons and non-solutions. You offer hope and you offer an alternative for people to actually find some solutions and find better health. And I think that alone is a miracle, and it's few and far between. And I say thank you for what you do, and God bless you and yours. And until the next time, I thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Dan. Have a good night.
You too, Sam. Take care, and we'll talk again soon. So there you have it.
Good job, honey.
We
Are you done?
just did a show talking about alternatives to the problems that exist. See how that works? It's not a bad thing. And it's worth you taking the time to actually check out the alternatives that are out there, especially going the natural route. I cannot say it enough, and I will not, I will not pontificate, if you will. I'm just saying there's power in looking for healthy, natural alternatives. Okay? Don't believe the lies. Don't believe you're predetermined to be anything and everything because your family has this, or it's in the genes, it's in this. No. We simply go along with what we're told because we entrust people to give us the best advice. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And when you find there's a monetary reason behind it, it is infuriating. It is enraging, and it's sickening. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Except fight for true alternatives. Fight for the right to actually help ourselves, to increase quality of life, to increase life expectancy. Imagine that. As I spoke about before, the difference of, make America healthy again. Why does it appeal to so many people? Because whether you're left, right, in between, or completely unaffiliated, whether you're Christian, Muslim, this blurs the lines between whatever label you're given in society. This is about people with common sense, people with an open mind, and say, you know what? There's better out there. There's alternatives out there, and maybe there's something to natural cures and natural solutions. It's not anybody saying, you do this and you're going to be healed of XYZ. No, it's saying there's something better out there that you could take to amplify what you're already doing or what you can do to help yourself. Okay? As I said before, my mom died. Diabetes, cancer, all these different things, right? And here I am, 2 parents with diabetes, 2 parents with heart disease, 2 parents with high cholesterol, allegedly, 2 parents with this. I have none of those things. Except I magically have something else. Why? Cash crop. We are the cash crop. And when you get out of the mindset of feeling defeated and feeling that you're deflated and you have nothing, there are no hopes, no cures, nothing you can do to help yourself, sometimes a person may come along and say, you're worth more, and you could do something about it. Sometimes God can speak to you. Sometimes, however you get there, you find an alternative. I mean, hell, for what it's worth, I met my wife not even, 2 years ago? A miracle came into my life. God put a miracle in my world. And I said, you know what? I wanted to live long enough just to piss off the globalists a little bit more and to become a warrior for truth just a little bit longer. And then I said, well, now, hell, I want to enjoy this life because I have somebody to share it with. And I found love, and that's because God put that in my life. And how did I meet her? By going the holistic route, trying to find help, trying to find a cure, trying to find relief and solutions to what was ailing me. And I did. Could it have been better? Sure. But you learn things. And look what I gained from all the money I spent, because insurance, God forbid, they cover holistic medicine. But what did I find? I found my wife. That's amazing, right? And then you're inspired, look deeper and do the things that we're doing. And then I came across this. And again, regardless of what it will or won't do for me, and I'm optimistic, you have to be, but I say you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And instead of investing money in things that do nothing, placebo effect, or things that inevitably make us sicker, why not invest in something that'll actually help or could potentially help? And what that looks like, it's different for everybody. But start believing that there is more to the Make America Healthy Again movement, because we want to be healthy. We want to live longer. We want what our neighbors in third world, air quote, countries and nations have all over the world. Longer life expectancy, God forbid, that's an evil thing to say. What's so wrong with looking for natural alternatives? What's so wrong with looking for ways and means out there beyond the pale that could actually help us help ourselves? So I think it's imperative, and a way for my warriors out there that want to fight the New World Order, that want to fight back against the establishment, that want to push back against the industrial complexes of the world. You owe it to yourself to go a different route, an alternative path. Believe me, there's nothing to aggravate the powers that be more than actually finding ways alternatively to help yourself and help those around you. So that's my preaching. That's my sales pitch, if you will. My sales pitch is believe in yourself enough to believe that God and the earth has given us things to help us. Use it. Try it. It's time. And I'm grateful that we have this link for a discount code. Again, aloemiracles.com/VOP, aloemiracles.com/VOP. I think that's important for you all to go and visit. Look at the site. You have nothing to lose. Give it a shot. Invest in yourself and invest in hope. And sometimes just the sheer belief that you're going to try something that's natural and can actually help you will start to make you feel better, because it lifts you up spiritually. It lifts you up mentally instead of the constant doom and gloom that you hear 24/7. Have some belief in yourself and have some hope. It's worth it. So again, that's aloemiracles.com/VOP or aloemiracles.com and enter promo code VOP. Exclusive savings. Give it a shot. That's all I could say. And once I'm done with my 90-day cycle, I'll give you a full report and a full testimonial where I'm at, but it's worth the shot to try it. That is my pitch to all of you. And that falls in line with the very few things that we do endorse and that we do put out there to this audience, which is the most skeptical, hard-headed, stubborn audience out there. And I love you more than anything. You're hard to sell. You're hard to buy into things. And I respect that, because you don't take anything for face value. And that's okay. So do your own research. Look into it. You have nothing to lose checking out a website and reading and saying, hey, maybe this will work for me. Maybe I want to give it a shot. And thanks to Sam's generosity and the entire team at Our Miracles, giving us the opportunity to save you some money in the process. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And we have nothing to gain other than the satisfaction of putting truth tellers out there and putting alternatives out there. Seeing a problem, instead of just yelling and complaining about it, actually pushing back, fighting back, and doing something good. That's important. And that's why allomiracles.com/VOP is a great place to start. Dr. Lafferty, LynnLafferty.com, promo code DAN20. Another one. These people focus in something, their focuses are in something different, something that's against the grain, against the norm, against the constant push from pharma. There's reasons why I say check it out. And again, just like we always say, mypillow.com/VOPUSA. Why? Got to sit down and talk with for over an hour, Mike Lindell. Somebody who actually is a good person trying to do good in the world. He's crazy. He's this, he's that. No, there's somebody who does not take from you, but offers you products that come from a good place. Spends his own money to try to help and fix the problems he sees in the world. Much like our guest tonight, Sam. Saw something, invest his own money, invest his own time and his own life into helping others, paying it forward times a million. These are the types of people that you want to support. These are the types of people that you could believe in and have some faith in humanity. We owe it to the world, we owe it to the future, and we owe it to ourselves. I've seen the good. I won't just put anybody on here randomly. I will never do that. I can't do that because I'm skeptical of all. We had Sam on tonight, and we're working with this group because they're good people who actually care. That means a lot. I went longer than the show was supposed to go, but you know what? I have a little bit of flexibility because, damn it, it's my network. But it's our network. So with that, I will shut up. I will wrap it up. And again, I implore you, look at the screen to our listening audience, allomiracles.com/VOP, allomiracles.com/VOP. To everybody on Facebook and Twitch and Rumble and YouTube and Kick and DLive and everything else under the sun. To our friends at Frank's Speech. Check it out. allomiracles.com/VOP. Invest in you. Invest in what nature provides and what God provides. That's all I could say. So with that, everybody, to the world, to everybody out there, I thank you, as always, for tuning in. You've had 2 impromptu shows today. And I just want to say it means a lot to me that you all show up and you always show out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, tomorrow night, you can count on it. PolitiShock coming to you live, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on year number 18 of being on the air. 18 years. Crazy, isn't it? Been doing this for so long. We know no other way. The Dan Spriglio Show, forthcoming. Yes, that disgusting last name will be implanted in your minds time and time again. And unfortunately, you'll have to see my face as well. I apologize in advance. With that, go to VOPUSARadio.com, VOPUSARadio.com. Remember, YouTube sucks. Sorry, YouTube. I implore you to follow us at VOPUS. I can do this. At VOPUSA Radio. At VOPUSA Radio. Here we go. On Rumble, on Twitch, on Kick, on Frank's Speech, on Truth Social, on DLive, on everything else. Whatever you could think of, That's what it is, at VOP USA Radio. Give us a follow, subscribe for more content. Go to the website, VOPUSARadio.com, and feel free to sign up. We don't spam you. Hell, I haven't sent out an email in quite some time. It's probably been about 2 years. You're going to start receiving them, but check it out. And if you'd like to meet our friends from Allo Miracles, you'll have a chance to, because they'll be joining us, or vice versa. We're all going to be there actually representing. We're cornering the market, if you will, but we will be live at the Reawaken Tour, Media Row, Selma, North Carolina, October 18th and October 19th. VOP will be represented. Allo Miracles will be represented. A lot of our friends will be represented. So come check us out. Come say hi. Do an interview. Whatever you want. That's where you'll be able to find us in person next. And, of course, VOP USA Radio will be live on Media Row with our friends at Turning Point for America Fest this December 18th through the 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. And by the grace of God, we'll be celebrating a country that'll soon be reclaimed. Hope and pray, people. Hope and pray. Thank you all. I will see you all tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, for the one and the only PolitiShock. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the people that you don't like to listen. If you want to piss them off, but you don't want to be the one to do it, share the show. I surely will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll talk soon. Until tomorrow, stay safe, God bless, and remember, allomiracles.com/VOP. Check it out, support our friends. See you tomorrow.
This has been PolitiShock.
All right, it's not really PolitiShock, but you're getting that outro just because. Enjoy.
Brought to you by MyPillow.com. Head on over and use promo code VOPUSA or call 1-800-822-5206. Dan Smariglio, the grassroots activist who took to the streets in 28 states, stood up against censorship, and launched the Voice of the People USA Radio Network. Heard in 98 countries by over 64 million freedom fighters each month. Dan is on a mission to take down the elites and empower you to do the same. He's been called the domestic terrorist by Obama and invited to the White House by Trump. Be sure to hit us up on Twitter, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, DLive, Instagram, and Frank Speech at VOP USA Radio. Email us at contactus@VOPUSARadio.com. We'll be back soon on PolitiShock.